Hey, hello everyone. Welcome again to our e-learning portal. And as discussed in the previous session, we have completed a for loop and we're discussing about the loop, what is loop and what kind of loops are there and how we can work on that. So today our agenda for this session is basically on the loops part. And in this particular session, we basically going to cover the loops, the for loop with if else, the for loop in multiple variables, and plenty of examples on that. So basically this particular agenda is to brush up the things on the loops, the for loop especially, like how we can solve the questions, how we can use some multiple statements inside that, because talking about the programming language, we should have an idea of how we can solve the problems, how we can easily tackle the problem which is coming in the interview scenarios or in any kind of exams or in any kind of you can say in any kind of papers or wherever it will be. So we'll basically going to see how we can solve the problems of the loop in that part, and in this particular scenario we're basically going to learn how we can use the if else inside the loop and how we can run a loop in multiple variables, like if we have to like run a loop in multiple parts, like the range is from 1 to 10, then the range is from 10 to 1, and I want to like run it in a simultaneous way. So how we can do that part? So these are the things which we have to cover in this scenario. So let's get started with that part. So first of all, we will cover the theoretical part of all this thing, and then we will deep dive in the practical way so that you will get a better understanding of the things. So let's start with this thing today. So today we have to basically see the loop with if else. Now, as you all guys know, talking about the loops, what basically loop will do is, let's suppose I have this color, yeah. So loop will create a particular way through which we can circulate, or you can say repeat a body like this. Okay, I can repeat it for one time, for two times, for three times, for n number of times, like the repetition. It may be like for 5 times, 10 times, doesn't matter. Now inside that body we can write statements. So instead of writing a simple statement, what we can do is we can use a decision making statement, like the if else part here. Now what happen is whenever this loop will get repeated, it will check for that condition for every time. Now it will solve the problems accordingly and do the things for us. So first of all, we will going to discuss this scenario in a practical way, and then we will move further. So let's open the Python idle for that, and then we will see the outputs for that. So here we have the Python open on my system. So let's start with that part. So let me first of all write a simple scenario in which I am just running a loop for a range of 10, and I'll print the value of 5. Now here you can see I'm just running that part. I'll just click on run, and I just select run module. I have to run it, yeah. So before running the file, you have to save it. Now you can save this file wherever you want, doesn't matter. So I'm just saving it in my documents. Yeah, save loop. And here you guys see the output that is from 0 to 9, which is obvious. We all know that part. Now, let's suppose if I want to print only that number which are greater than 5. So, although I can just change the range, I can start it from like 6. But now, if I want to put it as a condition, like if the value is greater than 5, only then you have to print that value. So, instead of printing the value of I directly, what I will do here is I will write if the value of I is greater than 5, then I will print the value of I. Now you can see this is the range. It will first of all take the value 0. Now the condition will be 0 greater than 5. Now we know 0 is greater than 5, the condition is false. So either it will go in the else part or it will do nothing, because right now I'm not defining any else part, so it will go nothing. It will do nothing. Similarly for 1, for 2, for 3, for 4. But talking about the value 6. Now 6 is greater than 5, that condition is true. So that's why it will print the value which is greater than 5, that is 6, 7, 8 and 9. So let's check it out for once. So I'll just click on run module again, and here you guys can see the output which is coming from section 9. So this is the way how we can work on the loop with the help of if else. So let's take one more example on that. So I'll just make this part as comment here. And if you guys have any doubt in the range part or indentation part, I definitely recommend you guys to please watch the previous videos of this session. I have explained it in a very better way in these sessions. So now we will just take a scenario in which we have to take a range of numbers and then print even odd numbers. Let's try to that part also. So if I'm defining a range here, let's say for I in range of 10, just a moment. And if I'll say if the value of I remainder 2 is equals to 0. Oh, that's a kind of like rocket science for you guys, but yes, I have given the explanation why I'm using that remainder sign, that percentage sign and double equal to sign. This percentage sign will give you the remainder of a value. Like, let me just explain it on the notes. That will give you a better idea. Let's suppose, like, if I'm writing 5, then I'm using my percentage sign here, percentage sign, and then 2. And that basically means you have to divide the value 5 by 2. What you have to do is you have to divide the value 5 with the value 2. Now we know if I divide it by 2, I will get like this 2 into 2, that will be 4, and I'll get a remainder of 1. Now you know to complete divide it, you have to just do a division till that part. Now here you can see this one. So this one is a remainder, and this percentage sign will give you the remainder of a value. Now if the remainder is 1, that means this value is not completely divisible by 2. If the remainder is 0, that means that value is completely divisible. So if the value is not completely divisible by 2, then it will be an odd number. If the value is completely divisible by 2, then it will be an even number. So I'm using that same concept here in my program also, that if I'm taking the remainder and that value is equals to 0. So for comparing that value with 0, I'm using the double equal to sign. And after I can print here that if that will happen, this will be an even number. And for the reference, I will print the value of I, which is the number itself. Also, if that number is not divisible, then at that time I will write odd number with I for the number itself. Now I'll run this code. Let's check it out. So based on my range, it is giving me that 0 is an even number, 1 is an odd number, 2 is even number, 3 is odd number, which is in a perfect manner. Now we can just make this program more dynamic. What we can do is, I have taken the range 10, which is starting from 0 going till 9. But let's suppose if someone is saying that I want to take the range from my side, like it can be from 10 to 20, it can be from 50 to 55. So for that part, what I can do is I will say that I will take two inputs from the user, that is the integer input, enter lower limit, up will be enter upper limit. Now instead of taking it till 10 only, what I will say, it will start from low and go till up. Now it's up to you guys. If you want to include that up value also, then you have to write up plus 1, because we know that the range will be n minus 1. Else you can use till up, so it will not include that value. So it based on the requirement, it totally depends on. Now here what I will do is, yes guys, so like totally depends what particular scenario we have. So right now I'm including that number, so I'm writing a plus 1. Let's try to run this code and see what will be the output as of now. So I'll say that I will start my limit from 10 and I will go till 17. Now you can see based on that it is giving me how many numbers are even and how many numbers are odd. So this is the way how we can work on that. Now let's have a talk on some different scenario also. I hope you got the idea how we can use the if else in the statement. Let's take one more question that will give us a better idea. So here we have divided a number by 2, which is for even and odd. Now let's suppose if someone is saying that I want to check the number but not from 2, not from even or odd. I will just give a number, let's say 7, or let's say 11 or 13, whatever the number we have. Now Let's suppose if I define a range from 1 to 100. Now I want to check which number are divisible by 9 or which number are divisible by 13 in that range only. So for that, the range numbers input will be taken like low and up. Now instead of 2, because right now I'm checking from 2, I can check from any number like 7, 13, 11 or whatever we want. So we'll take the input of that number also. Now let me just draft a code for that. So first of all, I will take the lower limit, that is the integer input. Limit. Now I will take that number also, like the number for which I want to check the divisibility. So enter the divisibility number. Please make sure the spelling, guys. Now for I in the range of low to up, which is the range from where we have to start and where we have to end. Now here I will check if that number I is divisible by which number, by 2 or 3, by this number which we have taken as an input. So here I will write if I remainder num is equals to 0, print divisible and the value of I. Else you have to do nothing. So I'm not writing any else part because we know, like talking about 13, there's so much number which are not divisible by 13. So I'm not going to print all that numbers. I'm just focusing on the number which are divisible by 13. So here let's run this code and see what will be the output for that. So I'm saying from 10 to 70, give me the number which are divisible by 13. These are the numbers which are divisible by 13 in that range. So see how dynamic this program is and how it's working. So you can use the if else part and all the things in this particular areas, and it's working so much good in this thing. And these are like frequently asked questions in your interview scenarios, in your practical scenarios. Now in this code, we can do one more thing, which is a very popular concept in loop, that is a counting concept and addition concept. Like let me just give you a brief overview on that. Let's suppose I'm running this code here. I'll run it from this part. Although the shortcut for running a code is F5. If you're using a laptop, it will be a function F5, or you can use F5 also. So let's suppose if I'm trying like from 10 to 50, how many numbers are divisible by 7? So these are the numbers. Now if someone will ask you, can you count these numbers? Like six numbers or seven numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total 6 numbers are there. I want that counting also. So let's think about that, like how we can do the counting. Let's go on the theoretical part. Let's first of all see how we can do that. So here we know that we have a number of values here in that range. Now some values are divisible, some values are not divisible. So let's suppose I'll just mark it as green, like this value is divisible, this value is divisible, this value is divisible, this value is also divisible, and this one also. Now here I have to check the counting. So what I can do is, first of all, I will make my count as 0. Starting, I don't know how many numbers are divisible. Now in that range, when I get any value which is divisible, what I will do, I will add 1 in my count. Like if this value is divisible, I will add 1 in it. So the value of count will become 1. Now if I will get again a value which is divisible by that, I will again add 1 in it. So right now the updated value of count is 1. Now I will add 1 in it, and that will become 2. If I add 1 in it, that will become 2. Similarly, in 2, if I add 1, it will become 3. So that is the work how the counting will update it. So first of all, we'll make a variable which is 0. Now whenever the condition will true, I will just add 1 in that variable. So what it will do, it will add that value and update it accordingly. Let me just show you the practical scenario of that. So what I will do is here, I'll first of all define a variable count as 0. Now you can see I'm defining it before the loop, because at the starting point it will be 0. Now whenever the condition will get true, I will just increase the value of count by 1. Now what it will do, whenever my condition get true, it will increase the value of count and store it in a count. So it is basically updating the value of count by adding 1 in it every time when my condition is true. After that, I'll just use a print that total count is count, and that's done. Similarly, in that manner, can we do some addition also? Let's try to check it out. So here, let me just create a scenario. Let's suppose this is a range and some values are divisible. Let's say I'll just take these values. Let's say 3 is divisible, 6 is divisible, and 9 is divisible. Now I want to add these all values. So what I can do is I will say, first of all, make a variable add like a, that will be again start from 0, and whenever this condition is true, whenever the value is true, what I will do, I will add that value in this variable. Like in 0 I will add 3, so that will become 3. Now in that 3 I will add 6, which is the next value which is coming from that condition. Then I will add 9, that is the value which is coming from that condition. So what I am doing is, whenever my condition get true, I am adding a value which is the value itself. Here let me just show you in the Python. Here the I is the value which is divisible. So what I will do is, I will first of all define a variable, let's say add equals to 0, and how much value I'm going to add is the value which is divisible. This I number is the number by which it is divisible, and I is the value itself. Like let's suppose if I'm talking from 10 to 50, which number is divisible by 13? So 13 is the first number. So it will be add 13, then it will add 26, then it will add 39, like this. And after completion, again I will use the print command that total addition is add. Let's try to see the output of that code also. So here I'll write my lower limit is 10, my upper limit is 50, and I want to check the number which are divisible by 6. Now these are the numbers. The total count is 7 and the total sum is 210. Now see, it is giving me all the informations regarding the counters, regarding the addition, the conditions, and all the parts. So in this manner, you can use the loop and if else condition. These are like some kind of questions which are frequently asked, and I hope you got all the ideas regarding that. So now we can move further, guys, and here we will just take an example of the loop part in which I am showing you like how we can use the multiple variables. So first of all, let me just try to create a scenario for that. So let's suppose in some of the cases, let's suppose I have a range which is coming in the increasing order, and the value is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. Similarly, in that way, I will have the values in the decreasing order. 6, 5, 4, and so on. Now I want to create two loops for that. So it's very easy. Like talking about if I'm using two loops, like what I'll say here is for I in range 1 to 7, because I want to cover 6, I will say print the value of I. So this loop will give me the output from 1 to 6. Let's check it out for once. You have to just click on the run button. Yeah. So now here you can see it is giving from 1 to 6. Now I want from 6 to 1 also. So what I'll say is, let's create one more loop for I in range, that is from 6 to 0, and the range is -1 this step. Why? Because we are going in a decreasing order. Again, if you have any doubt in that particular range, please watch the previous video of the loop in which I have defined a range function. I will again use the print I statement on run module. Click on OK. Now here you guys can see the output. The first output is from 1 to 6 and the second output is from 6 to 1, which is coming in a perfect manner. But right now I'm using two loop statements. So instead of using two loop statements, what I can do is I can use one loop statements and I will use two variables with these two ranges. Let me just show you how. That's a kind of magic, guys. Yeah. So here, instead of doing this part, what I will say is I have to run two loops, like two ranges. So I will say for I comma j, two values. In the range, now I have two range. The first range is from 1 to 7. The second range is from 6 to 0 with a step of -1. Now I have to just, you can say, collect these two ranges. And how we can do that? So Python will provide us a function that is called zip. Now in zip, this is my first value, this is my second value. So you have to just collect these two values for the variables I and z. That's like the zip folder. I hope you all have an idea about that. Just click a right click and extract all the things. It will extract it in a iterable format. So now I'll print the value of I and j. And here you guys can see this loop will run for the both of that works. Let's check it out. Yes, guys. So here you can see the output, that is 162534435 and 61. So it's coming in a very great way how you can do this part easily. So yes, you can use these things like for creating some kind of combinations, like how much combinations we have with these values, like from 1 to 7 and from 7 to 8, that number of combination, and then you can use these parts. So yes, guys, this is our agenda for today loop topic, and coming in the next session we're basically going to discuss about the statements in the loop. That is a break, continue and pass statement, and how we can use that in a for loop, how that will help us. We'll also see some more questions on the loop in the next session, and after that we'll be going to cover the while loop and see some questions on that also. So yes, guys, keep stay tuned. We will get to know lot of things in Python, definitely. So now guys, we have covered our agenda for today, that is the loop. We have like better idea about the loop, like what is loop. Then we have covered the for loop with if else. We have seen a lot of questions on that. We have also seen like how we can use the multiple loop statement with multiple variables, and plenty of examples on that also. So now, yes, again a thank you session for all of you guys. So feel free to share your feedback or any suggestions you may have for the improvement. And if you have any questions or doubts, don't hesitate to ask. You can leave your question in the comment section, and definitely we will be there for the help. So till that part, just do some practice on the Python so that you will get a better understanding and better idea on that parts. Okay then, bye bye guys. Take care. Have a nice day.